Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Dare to Speak, Difficult Conversations That Can Change Everything. In this episode, I'm going to talk about silence. Silence is a form of communication. Often when we think of silence, we are thinking that nothing's happening, there is no communication taking place. But silence in a relationship is a form of communication. There is data and there is information to be gathered from silence. Silence is different for men than it is for women sometimes. It's different for children and it's different within older people. If you take a moment now and think in your life, where have you got silence in your communication? Sometimes it's not speaking up about something that's important to us. Sometimes it is silence because we just aren't considering that particular point of view. Sometimes silence is that person in your life or those people in your life that you know just aren't communicating, they've withdrawn. Perhaps the conversation between you and your partner or your husband or your wife has dried up. In the beginning, you used to talk all the time. Now you don't talk at all. Or you just talk about the practical matters, about the children or what you're going to have for dinner or whether the car needs some fuel in it. Or the arguments. But about other stuff, it just doesn't happen. What are you reading? What do you think about that? I certainly noticed it when I was younger. We used to go to the cinema a lot. I grew up without a telly and we used to listen to the Radio 4. And I was brought up on the Archers. That's all I can say, really, twice a day. But we used to go to the cinema a lot. And one of the things that would happen is that we would come out of the cinema and we would talk about the film. We would talk about it. And I've noticed that that's not what happens very often these days. People come out of a cinema and they just go and have a look at their phones, or they decide that they want to go and get something to eat, or they just drive home and say, oh, I'm tired now, I need to go to bed. So that conversation about the film doesn't happen. It forms a pattern. People are on their phones. They don't often really, are they talking about their books? I suspect some of us are. I certainly am, where I can. But I notice that silence is become a normal part of life. It's become a part of that disconnection that we have. When I speak to men, and a lot of the clients that I work with are men, often when I say to them, well, why are you silent? You know, that's what we're here to do. We're in a coaching space to try and understand things a bit better. And some of the questions that we ask when we're a coach are, they're not shaming or blaming. It's a safe space, but it's a space to consider, well, why are you silent? And the answers that I hear are, well, I didn't want to put my foot in it. I didn't want to get it wrong. I didn't want to make it worse. I didn't think they would be interested in what I had to say. Oh, I've tried to speak before and it didn't work. So what I hear, and this is not all of the examples, I've been doing this for a long time, so there are too many examples to say here in one podcast, but we will, over the course of these podcasts, talk about so many of them. But what I hear is that there's either fear or despondency or disappointment or a just sense that it's not worth doing, or if they were to speak, it would be too risky. So often I either see a withdrawal into kind of hurt volatility, kind of victim of, oh, well, there's no point because of you doing X, Y, and Z, or there is no point. And with men, I hear a lot, because I pay attention, oh, men don't talk about their feelings. But in my experience in my coaching world, men actually do talk about their feelings. And I often think about the songs and the poetry and all of the wonderful art and creation that is out there from men as well as from women. For women, silence can be slightly different. Again, silence can be not wanting to speak because you don't want to make it worse, or the inevitability of failure, that it just won't make a difference, or the pointlessness because I've tried and I've tried and I've tried and I've failed and it hasn't worked. And there's that feeling of abandonment or rejection, isolation and aloneness. Now, humans are social animals. We're actually designed, we're built for connection. Esther Perel says that. She says in one of her books, I can't remember which one it is, she says the quality of our relationships, the quality of our connections will determine the quality of our lives. So when we are being silent, what's happening is we are communicating. But we're communicating often fear or worry or doubts or lack or negativity or distress or isolation or aloneness. We're not sharing, we're not talking, we're feeling that we need to be silent. We're feeling that we need to be silent. It isn't necessarily that we want to be silent, but it could be that we've simply learned that habit. And any of us who have had children in our lives know that children, I remember my son, and I felt that I would hear it. He would chat all day. And I remember him going to bed and I would listen to him in his room and he would be chat. And he would fall asleep. And then in the morning, it was like his battery was charged and he woke up chatting and he would come into the room going chat about whatever it is that he was talking about. Because communication is really fundamental. So when we are experiencing silence, when we're being silenced, how about relationships where we're told that we're not allowed to speak? It could be how you were raised. Don't speak unless you're spoken to. Don't say anything unless you can say something nice. Children should be seen but not heard. Don't say things that are disagreeable. So the instruction to silence it happens quite early actually. Shush, be quiet. Don't bother me right now. Give me some peace and quiet. So silence is really important. It is a form of communication. It's usually a communication that there's stress or distress. Sometimes people are in a relationship, a difficult, toxic relationship, and I will talk about these later on, where the behaviour has disintegrated between both parties to such an extent that one person is controlling the other person's ability to speak. And that is, we'll call that an abusive relationship where that is happening. I'm not talking about a little one-off, please be quiet, I'm trying to do something. I'm talking about a consistent pattern over time where another person's point of view is not welcome. That is also the case that happens in the workplace. A lot of the change in women's position within certainly British society has been about women having more voice. A lot of the changes within diversity across cultures is inviting different people to have a voice, not to be silenced, not for their history to be written into the books rather than written out of the books so that we never hear what their thoughts or what their words or what their opinions were. So considering silence as part of Dare to Speak is really, really important. And I encourage you to reflect yourself. Where are you silent? Where are you silent? Where are you experiencing silence? Where are you being told you should be silent? Another important thing to add here is sometimes when people do speak up, these are the kinds of things that are said to them. Don't draw attention to yourself, or what makes you think that you're so important. Don't make a spectacle. Don't make a show of yourself. Why do you have to be different? Why can't you conform? Why can't you fit in? And all of these are subtle and also not subtle requests for you to silence yourself. Taking a little bit of time to reflect on this, writing it down if that's the way that you do things, or just considering this is not about shaming or blaming people. This is such a intrinsic part of our culture to ask people not to speak, even whilst conversely they're also asking people to speak, that it's natural that it's going to create some confusion. It's going to make people feel, I'm meant to talk, but I'm only meant to say what's acceptable or what's okay. I'm only meant to say something that isn't going to upset or disrupt or make somebody else feel bad. And we can see this in modern culture at the moment. There's a real, appears to me to be a bit of a confusion between free speech and our ability to speak about what matters to us and not wanting to offend or upset other people. And to some extent, that really lies at the heart of why considering silence matters. If our choice is that we've either got to stay silent and pretend, or we've got to speak out and upset other people, we're going to feel caught in a really difficult bind. The aim of this podcast, the aim of Dare to Speak, the aim of opening up this space is to really kind of think about and talk about the inconsistencies to do with that, but then give some tools for how to handle it. Disagreeing comfortably with somebody else is such an important part of diversity, but it's also an important part of relationships and getting to know each other. Either we end up in a situation where we simply agree or we stay silent, and that's certainly something that's happened to me for a lot in my life. We simply don't be disagreeable. Or we're in a situation where we have to dare to speak and recognise that if what we say is difficult for the other person to hear, I believe, and I teach to all my clients, our best strategy is to ourselves regulate and stay very, very calm about how we do it. Because certainly if we want to upset somebody, well, we don't want to upset them, but we recognise it is going to happen. And becoming comfortable with upsetting other people when it's necessary, not deliberately, not unkindly, not with anger and force and being awful to them, but in a very gentle way. I need to tell you something. It's possibly going to cause you a bit of upset to hear. And I still care about you and I value our relationship, but I do need to say this is an important part of life. Now, there are professions out there where people do this on a daily basis. Anybody in their professional life who has to deliver bad news, whether it's a diagnosis, whether it's that you can't get that mortgage, you're not going to get that pay rise, you're not going to get the house, the sale's fallen through, you're not going to get that Christmas present, I can't afford it, the holiday's being cancelled, the flight has been cancelled, the car's broken down. We can't go. We can't do that. There are no seats available. It got misplaced and I can't find it. I can't give it back to you. I broke that thing and made a mistake. Often in our lives, whether it's in our professional or personal lives, we have to deliver uncomfortable news. I want a divorce. I don't want to be married anymore. I've kept silent about our relationship for so long that I think we need to have a conversation and end it. Or maybe it's about yourself and your identity, how you feel about yourself, how you want to present in the world. Or how you feel about the other person. I'm really worried. You've said you're going to drop out of university and I'm really scared about what that means. Or perhaps you've come out and your parent is scared or upset about what that means or what your life's going to look like. Whatever it is, silence is a form of communication. And over the course of the next week, I encourage you to notice silence. Please, I ask you, don't judge it, don't blame it, don't even criticize it. Just noticing it, just recognizing it will help you see that it's a big part of many of our lives. It's a big part of my life, and I know this stuff. I know that if I reach out to a client and they don't get back to me for whatever reason, there's communication in that. And it's for me to understand, not for me to just fall into my own feelings and think, oh, they don't like me, I'm rejected, I'm this, that, and the other. But for me to be able to say there's something going on here for them, and I can hold space for that. So silence is communication. Whether it's your own silence or whether it's somebody else's silence. So in this week in this podcast about daring to speak and having difficult conversations that change everything, I'm just calling our attention to the pause, sometimes the incredibly long pauses in our lives where we have become silent, and what that means. Looking at the people in our lives and our awareness that they are silent. Our child is silent, not talking. The person that was ringing us up every week and we had long chats with has started a new relationship and now they're never in touch. They've become silent. They only ever present that everything's wonderful. They never talk about things being hard, and it makes you wonder, what are they not talking about? What are they staying silent for? The person who is shutting down the brother, the uncle, the father, what are they not talking about? What are they not doing? Silence is communication. And so this week's episode has just been to shine a bit of a light on that. We'll be coming back to silence many, many times. I just thought it came into my head, silence is golden. It isn't, I don't think. I'm not saying it isn't lovely within the noise of a busy place to go by the sea or to go into a forest and just experience tranquility of silence. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about the silence of people when you know that underneath those silent words, there is something unsaid. And whatever that thing is that's unsaid, we'd be better off knowing so that we can connect with people. So I'm going to leave that with you today. If this has resonated with you today, please like it, please comment, please let me know. I am learning and I want to learn. And feedback is so important. So please do comment, please do DM me, email me, WhatsApp me. My details are out there. They're all in the show notes. You can connect with me and let me know, what are you silent about? And what would you like to change within that silence? Who do you know is silent and you'd love to know specifically how to open up that conversational space? And I am here to share all of my years of knowledge and expertise, my personal and my professional experience, to help you find a way of bridging those silent gaps in your life. I look forward to seeing you next time.